We must be live.
Hey, we are live.
So thank you all for being here as well. My name is Rachel Kathryn Kauffman. All the way from Lexington, joining us here tonight.
Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram, and hello to everybody on the professional page and the personal page. Let's do some quick shout outs here. Hey to Dana, Paige, Yasmin, Sarah, Debbie, Megan, Sean, and Lee Ann. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight is a special episode. I've got Barbara Bacon here from Crystal Crazy, and we're going to be talking about how to help children who exhibit mediumistic type of abilities. And I know a lot of people are very passionate about this subject. I am too. Let's see if I can see the names over here on Instagram. A special shout out to Joy. Good to see you. And Super Murph. Yeah, we're doing fine tonight, Joy. How are you doing? Glad to see you on here. Always a pleasure. Shout out to Jacqueline and Richmond and Sheena and William Thompson and his lovely wife, Debbie. Good evening to you guys. So I decided to do this show tonight because I've been getting a lot of calls about parents who've been concerned about their kids exhibiting medium type of abilities. And so we kind of got together and started talking about what, expanding things in our repertoire of stuff that we can do for kids with these abilities. And hey to Megan and Heba. Heba's down in Florida. What's the weather like down there, Heba? And hi to Angie. So I won't be shouting out to you tonight.
I know, right
here, Barbara.
Yeah.
So everybody knows Barbara Bacon is one of my favorite people to refer to for any kind of gemstone needs that you have. All of her specimens have the most wonderful energy. So if you live in the Lexington area, please pay her a visit if you have, any kind of gemstone needs. And also, if you are a parent and you have a child who is exhibiting these type of tendencies, I did leave a link to Barbara's Facebook page in the description of this video, and you can message her for a consult to take your child out to the shop and get the things that they need. So if you like these Monday night shows, please follow both pages, Crystal Crazy and my page and the professional page. Go ahead and hit the share button on your screen now. Share this out in your news feed so that, if there are any kids out there that need this information or parents that need this information, they can definitely get it. If you're interested in past shows, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel. And I did leave the link to the YouTube channel there for you. So let's start off with, I think the most important thing is the parent's attitude, and then we'll go into the symptoms of, how these kids are presenting and what the parents are having to deal with. But let's talk a little bit, Barbara, about what are your ideas about how parents handle this?
Well, we have a couple different things that have happened over the years that we've been working with parents. We have a child that somehow in the birthing process, they flip a switch, I guess, so that we don't remember past lives. But some of these kids are remembering past lives. So they're telling their parents at 4 years old how they died.
Mm.
And the poor parents are like, I don't let him watch TV like that,
Yeah.
you know? And so the parents in disbelief, the kid is saying things that aren't appropriate for that age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different situation. That's a very special and unique child. But also having these gifts, you know, we've worked with so many people over the years who got shut down at an early age because of their gifts, because their parents were ill-equipped to understand them or deal with them or even understand if they were real.
Right.
A lot of people got committed to insane asylums.
They did
because,
in the past,
because they had these gifts. They told
Mhm.
people about them, and then they got locked up because no one could handle them.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
So it's really important. The parents' reaction, I think, and the belief in the child is so very important. And also the dialogue between the parents and the child about what they are experiencing and how their perception is about this. So some of the symptoms, like you said, is recalling past life memories, but
dreams.
Also frequent nightmares, even if the child is so young where they can't relate what exactly the nightmare was about. If they're having recurrent nightmares around the same time frame in the night, that's a suspect for some kind of entity being around them. I'm gonna check for questions really quick. And Heba says, humid in Florida, but beautiful. Awesome. Special shout out to Melissa Begley and her sidekick, Miss Cleo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corey, Olivia, Steve, Brenda Sue, Ashley, and Carrie. And a hi over here to Rita Fox on Instagram. For those of you guys on Instagram, the Crystal Crazy page is Barb's Crystal Crazy Shop.
That's right.
And so you want to visit that link there for information on crystals. So other symptoms, okay. Kids relating that they have seen people who've passed on, or talking about and describing scary people or people with blood on them. And things like that. And, you know, a lot of times parents will dismiss this kind of stuff and say, okay, you just had a bad dream, but really talk to the child and see if it's in a lot of detail. It may not be a dream.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I think the thing that's kind of something for people to think about too is that gifts are passed down. And so sometimes they'll jump a generation, but many times a grandmother or somebody in your past had the gift, or you have the gift and shut yourself down at an early age. So many times I have a lot of children and parents who have similar gifts, but the parent doesn't realize. So this is a great opportunity for you to like turn back on and really help yourself with your own healing and your own self-doubting. So because really, in my estimation, our gifts that we come in here with are our best defense and tools to keep you sane, to count on your intuition, and to they're your strengths.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Hey to Melissa, Mike, and Carrie Wilson. Nice to see you guys on here. So let me check our notes here. So how the parents react is super important.
It is.
Believing in the child. What can we do to keep these kids comfortable? So we came up with a lot of stuff. I used to advise parents to use the consecrated salt and kind of grid the room in consecrated salt. And the consecrated salt is a crystal. It also conducts electromagnetic energy, as everybody knows. And so when you do a prayer over salt, you're imbuing it with that vibrational quality of the protective prayer that you're putting into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to grid a child's room with that protective salt is what we used to do in the old days. Not only that, but, placement of crosses and whatever other religious emblems that you may have in your home can be placed in the room. We were talking about things that you do to work with kids on this.
Right.
Is gridding the room with gemstones, and that's a huge one nowadays that I absolutely love. So let's talk about, how do you do that, and what kinds of things do you use for these kids?
Well, it has to be age appropriate, because the one thing is that we have to be super careful. I have a grandson. He puts stones in his mouth all the time. So you really need to be safe. And I had to take all the little ones away from him.
Yeah.
So depending on the age.
Right. That's a big factor.
It's a huge factor, because you don't want them getting into these. But they can be, if they're an infant and they're still in the crib, then, we just spoke about putting some selenite in between the mattress and the springs, so they're not even on the ground anymore.
Right.
You can have shelving, almost like an altar, of your favorite spiritual things that make you happy. It's about the positivity. And
right. You could put those little triangle shelves in every corner of the room above, to where the child couldn't get in it, and maybe place the gemstones on top of that.
Absolutely. And also, even our lamps are perfect, that have the function, so that you really clear, and they're kind of camouflaged,
Right.
So it's positivity. It's setting a vibration of frequency is what you're looking for. That is a 3, 5, 7, 9 odd number of stones, and you'll feel it, because that's what we do, is we'll work with you, and when it's wrong, you'll be like, no, it's off. But once you see it, you'll know it when it's right.
So at the Crystal Crazy shop, what she's talking about is your husband takes and makes these lamps.
Right.
With the stand is made from maybe selenite, gemstone, or whatever else you might feel is vibrationally in tune for you for this protection. And that was another thing that we were talking about, is we go by guidelines with a lot of the gemstones, but ultimately it comes down to what your vibration or resonant frequency is telling you internally that you should use for that situation. That's the ultimate guide, is the way that you feel about this. But a selenite lamp with the energy coming out of it is certainly a safe and really nice option for
it'll clear a whole house,
clearing the whole room.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is something that can be established like an heirloom to pass down to
absolutely
the child's grandchildren, in the future. So these are and when I do the edited version of this show tonight and I put it on YouTube, I'm going to slice some pictures of a couple of the lamps in right here for you guys to look at. So you may, and a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about this evening, I'll have pictures of on the edited version.
Right.
So I urge everybody that's tuning in live tonight to go to the YouTube channel. Probably next week I'll have it done, and look at the edited version. Let me check for questions really quick. Hey to Pearl, Paul, Rhonda, Melissa, Anna, Angela, LJ, David. Hey to Regina and Tom Driver and Sheila and Julie. So our it looks like our live stream on Instagram cut off. Not sure why that happened. I'm gonna probably do 2 sections of this, and let me see if it will start, and it's not going to. So
shoot.
Well, that's Instagram for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's continue on. So just going as a guideline, what are some of the stones that you would use to grid the room for these kids up and out of the way to where that you can't, the child can't get a hold of them?
Right, right.
So,
well, we'll use the create. You're going to use either an apophyllite, a quartz crystal, a celestial quartz, the Sachaluka quartz, because those are they make up that fence, and they're in the corners of the room.
mm-hmm.
And so then you add to those. So the selenite would keep everybody clear and keep it live, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so stones are like sponges. After a while, they can't absorb anymore. So that's where you need to clear them, whether the sage and the Tibetan bowls and stuff.
So I guess if you notice that the child's sleeping okay after you place the stones in the room, and then suddenly they start having nightmares again, you can pretty well guess that the stones are absorbed everything that they can and that you would need to clear them.
Yeah.
So this is an example of some selenite.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it's a large piece. So maybe, you would want some smaller pieces on those little ledges up out of the children's grasp, obviously.
Right.
And the selenite is a little bit splintery, which is another reason why you want to keep that out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
But keep it up where it can do its work, but not to where the child could get a hold of it.
Right. So then, so after the quartz, after you choose whatever the quartz formation is, then you start adding in what you want to bring into. So whether it's an angelic realm, so then we'll, possibly use
angel light
pillows, which are really cute and sweet. They're neat. These have been really, really popular.
And then this is celestite, which is another one that you would use for angelic protection, angelic communication, and you would definitely want to intercede to the angels for help with this situation if you've got a really concerning situation and the child's seeing some really horrible stuff, which mediums can. And that's one thing that gives it away, is if the child starts talking about scary people and describing people that have blood all over them or have purple faces or things like that. So Angela says, need to write these down for sure. Yeah, and you can always go back and watch the video again. So
or message me.
Message Barb and see what other options that we don't bring up here that you might. So Ashley says, what about using selenite stones in the corners?
A lot of times we'll do the selenite because we work with the selenite so much. We have the ability to have flat pieces and polish them so that the stones can sit directly on the selenite, which I think is optimum.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely.
I think it's optimum because it's perfect. Then you don't have to worry about clearing or saging or any of this stuff.
Right, exactly.
And so we can work with you for that we make custom pieces so that we can get you a piece that will fit and fit the stones that you're wanting to put on in the corners of your room.
So basically, people just need to go in for a consult to see what individualized situations or things that are needed, and whatever they need, you guys can do.
We can. We have over 125 tumbled stones. That's a lot of tumbled stones.
That's a lot of options.
That's a lot of options. That's a lot of options.
Not only that, but the sprays. So let's talk about the clearing sprays that you guys make there. And she brought one for tonight.
Yeah. So our number one, almost our number one, but can you see it? Put it right. There we go. Transformational Gateway. Hopefully it won't be backwards.
Let's see.
Your hands. So Transformational Gateway is a really interesting, it has sage essential oils, which a lot of times it's not appropriate for respiratory issues, things like that, to sage
Right.
in a child's or a baby's room.
Or an elderly
or an
person's
elderly
room.
person's room.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I will ask people, when you go to clear a space, where are you clearing it? Are you sending it to your neighbors or down the street?
Hopefully not.
And people say, well, I don't know. I've never thought about it. And I said, well, we just normally say, well, I just want it away from me, and that's all I care about. Okay, well, what we love about the transformational gateway is that for some reason, it's the frequency of the Sachaluka quartz, the smoky quartz, the hedonite, and the pink kunzite.
Let's see if I can let y'all see the stones
that
here.
Offer the frequency to allow, to greet whatever that energy is in a non-combative, non-aggressive way, and communicate to them that we've left a window open for them to go home, to wherever their peace is, or wherever that lost child is, or, you know, how frustrated would we all get if every time we wanted to go somewhere, we couldn't find the exit sign?
Exactly. And a lot of entities are so confused.
Right.
Let's say if it's an entity that has lost a child and is looking for that child in the other life, and they're attracted to your child's energy because it's child energy, but it's not their child.
Right.
So this would be the perfect thing to use in just that circumstance.
Right. And in that example, so what for that entity, what they would hear is they would hear their child crying or calling them through the other window.
Yes.
And which would obviously stop us, you know, our goal is to stop recycling all these negative energies and passing them down around the block and making them angrier. So let's get them to leave and go home so that they can come to peace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the gemstones that we talked about, and I can't say it right, Sachaluka. Let's talk about that for a minute, because it's not one that we readily are aware of, and I would like for you to explain the difference in that.
I love that stone. I love that stone. I sleep with that stone. The Sachaluka quartz is said to be the lightest, the highest frequency vibration of white light on the planet at this moment.
And those are in the sprays.
In the sprays.
So they're in the sprays.
And in the spray also is water from Lourdes, France. So I import the blessed water from Lourdes, France, which is, you know, we've got a couple thousand years of miracles from this spray, which also lends to that frequency of healing, right?
Yeah.
To whatever it is.
Right.
Plus they smell good. So the Sachaluka has been placed at many sacred spots all over the world from friends of mine, other travelers, and it is connected to the true grid of this planet that illuminates in a gold. So it's a very high frequency. It doesn't resonate with everybody, and that's okay. One of the celestial quartz may.
Yeah.
One of the apotholites may. So we have options. And quartz crystal's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
This is a piece of quartz for you to look at.
That's a beautiful one. That's a beautiful Lumerian. Yeah.
And it's a self-healed one. You see the crack there.
Yeah. Just beautiful.
Yeah. So you can use the quartz crystal on the little shelves to grid the room. You could use apophyllite. I didn't bring one down here tonight.
And I almost grabbed one. I think one's buried in my purse.
And there's none over there.
Yeah.
So selenite quartz, apophyllite, the Sachaluka quartz. We talked about the angelic help with the angelite and the celestite.
Because they're quartz crystals, they're programmable. So you set your intentions, and it will follow what it is you're asking, which is different than programming. Intention's different. I don't have to tell my quartz that it's a quartz. It already knows it's a quartz.
Right.
But I do have, I might have my intention that I need you
The
to
way that
help.
the way that I think about it is, quartz is like a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't call that friend and say, "Hey, here's what I need,"
Right.
they're not going to exactly know. Does she need this or does she need that?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
It's helpful to let it know what you need it to do.
Well, not only that, too, what I really like, too, is that it contains the frequency to call out the angelic realm, to call out the masters, to call out, maybe you want your dad who passed 25 years ago to come and maybe sit and hang out in the room. I mean, maybe that's maybe a little out of the box for some people, but at my house, it's not unusual.
No.
It's like phone a relative and say,
There you go.
What are you doing Saturday night?
This is your dial pad.
It is your dial pad. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go into how would you use the sprays in the room of the child?
So the different sprays, but the transformational gateway, you can spray, they're aura sprays. So we already know that our aura contains traumas and holes, and that's where we kind of find our vulnerability. So you can spray it in the room. You can spray it carefully on a child. Don't ever spray it in their face because of the essential oils. You know, you don't ever want to do that. Don't. Right. You know, that kind of stuff. So,
could you spray the bed linen with these?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But it's more, I will say it's more about clearing. We have other sprays that I would probably recommend differently than spraying on the bed linens. Because what we're doing is we don't want to open doors when there's nothing there. We don't want to do that. Right. So it's more about once something is already there to clear your whole room before you're placing your crystals. So really just using in the room.
How would this be to spray the crystals themselves? Well, I mean, you can't do selenite because, you know, anything moisture-wise will degenerate this.
Right. Well, a mist isn't going to worry too much, you know, but
not
because
unless you're up there going
unless you really have to blast it. So usually the transformational gateway is best when you just use it in a room to clear, but that's when something's already present. We have our other sprays that will angel speak, Sacred Heart's Wisdom, the Divine Enlightenment. So we have different sprays for different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And I'm not, it's possible that I could make somebody a custom blend.
Yes. That's where they need to come in and have that consult done.
Being a crystal alchemist, you know, you just never know.
Well, that's true. And I think that that's a good description of what you do is crystal alchemy. You fashion stuff together for people for specific situations. Right. And this is certainly one of those. Special shout out to Melissa Arthur Woosley. How are things out in your corner of the woods there? Okay, another thing that I usually, you know, counsel people to do is to use resonant frequency for clearing of the room, and you can achieve that with any type of crystal bowl, Tibetan singing bowl, any type of bell. Shrine or temple bells, drums will even clear an area out because the vibration, like we were talking about earlier, actually disrupts the pattern of energy that's set in the environment by some of these entities. And so those are really great to do right before bed. You can teach your child how to do the singing bowl, and they can be empowered themselves to clear their own bedroom if they're, you know, if they're old enough. So you can add that to the repertoire. Another thing that we do with the consecrated salt, a lot of times I've had, if the child is old enough, the parent can put a little bowl of the consecrated salt next to the bedside. Now, should the child wake up and see an entity or whatever's there and they want it gone, you can teach that child how to take some of that salt and throw it at whatever's there. And that in turn will empower the child to take control of the situation, and it helps them feel like they're not helpless. And it does work. So
can you use to the salts, can you add like maybe some lavender essential oils?
yes, you can add protective oils, you can add calming oils.
So that might help the child go back to sleep.
Exactly.
And relaxation. Plus, I don't imagine anything negative is going to want lavender. They're probably going to run.
Well, I mean, you can mix lavender with a protective type of essential oil like black pepper.
Right.
I know black pepper sounds like it wouldn't be relaxing, but it actually is, and it's used for protection. And it's very relaxing to the musculoskeletal system. So
nice.
That's, rosemary and lavender is a good one. Rosemary is really effective, and peppermint for protection. However, they have a little bit of a stimulant type of action, so I would go with the black pepper myself. So tell me what happens when you're doing a consult for a parent and child.
A lot of times people who haven't been to our place, they walk in and they get a little overwhelmed
because the crystals are all vibrating.
We have a lot, but the one thing that I encourage, it doesn't matter if you're a child or a grown-up, is to play. And because when we take the element of play, then you don't worry about picking the right one or the wrong one. I encourage people not to read what the descriptions are, because power of suggestion is huge.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't do what the card says it should do, then the person either blames the stone or they blame themselves. Why am I not good enough that this didn't work?
Oh, and we don't need to do that.
We don't need to do that. Your eyes scientifically will be drawn to the correct stone. Color-wise, whatever it is, you'll be naturally drawn.
And we can go, like I said, we can go by the guidelines, but we don't know everything that these gemstones do.
Right.
And the only way that we can determine that is by going through the feeling of what they're trying to convey to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey to Casey and Arthea. Well, let's take a look at these other ones that you brought.
Oh, this one's really cool. So this one here is a relatively new titanium smoky quartz. I really like this one because the smoky quartz is going to transmute negativity, but then on the back side with the titanium iridescence, it's going to fill back in with this beautiful light, this beautiful vibration of light. So it's a twofold, a clearing out and a filling back in.
Right, which is super important.
Really important. If you're going to clear something out, please, 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 always remember to fill back in. Because the universe, if you clear it out and you don't fill it with something, the universe will fill it with whatever you focus on. If it's fear, it's going to focus on it and bring you more. Or whatever it's got spare of.
Right.
And so be very intentional. So that's
hey,
one
Taya. Too, if you guys have any questions at all, just feel free to put them in the comments. If you're watching the show on rewind, still ask a question. We will be watching the feed in the next couple of days, and we will get to your question, promise you. Really quick, before we get into the next stone, I'm going to flip over here to the professional page and make sure that no one is on here with questions. So, hey to all you guys over here on the professional page. So, Donna and two Donnas.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have questions, guys, on the professional page, just come over here to the personal page and list those questions there. And we will definitely get to you on those questions. Okay, let's go with the next one.
Okay, so this next one is really, really cool. It is, there we go, the other way. Banded sardonyx.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
This one's really cool because it has the quartz in it. This stone is a super...
Is it a type of quartz?
It does have the quartz in it, yes. It's a jasper.
Oh, okay.
It's a jasper. But what we're finding that's really cool about this stone, it has a very... It's a masculine, but a protective masculine, like a watchdog that's a male dog.
Now, do you have lamps that you can make of this?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But what if somebody wanted one? Could you get
find
one?
It? Well, because we work directly with the mine owners. It's not impossible.
Because this would make a beautiful lamp.
It would be pretty. It's very pretty. So it's very protective, very grounding. And I personally, probably telling on myself, I sleep with one when I have a hard time sleeping.
I need a whole bed of that.
I know, you know.
Being a medium, I've kept up all night, and this may be what I need to go to sleep.
I know, it severs when I just can't shut off or something, whether it's solar flares, whatever's going on. It's just keeping me wound like a top.
So that would be like a protective but calming type of influence for the
it's
for
like
the kids.
A hug. It's like a warm, protective hug. But it's not angelic, soft, feminine. It's more like, dude, I got you.
Oh, that's what we need.
I got you.
That's what these kids need.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing we talked about before we stop for the evening, we're going over a little bit, but you guys don't care, do you? Is dragon energy. Tell me how you advise people work with that, or are there stones that bring that in, like a protective field?
Well, a lot of kids and people who are dragon people will already have a pet dragon, or will talk about a story that has a dragon, or they'll have a name like a pretend, but it's not a pretend, you know. So people who have had dragons or dragon energy literally have a huge dragon that floats around, shows up. They're very magical and very protective.
And this would empower the child as well.
Absolutely.
So maybe they could get, statuaries with that animal type of energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could put that with the gemstones.
Absolutely. One of our artisans that we work with, does the intaglio etching with a dentist drill, and he has magnificent dragons.
Wow.
So we can find something, a quartz crystal to send him and have him make something and then illuminate it in a room. Yeah. I mean, the possibilities are cool and
yes,
really neat.
I think that's what we wanted to mainly get across for you guys, is that there are a ton of options for you to work with the crystals, the consecrated salt, all kinds of sprays and stuff that will be beneficial for protection for your kids and empowerment. You can also, as long as you do this safely, and take into consideration the age of the child and age considerations as far as safety goes.
Right.
So we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, this has been fun.
Here.
Yeah,
this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Also, what future projects do you have going on? What's happening at Crystal Crazy this fall and winter?
I was telling you earlier, everybody is blowing my phone up because they're on the ball for Christmas. And I have to say, we have got some spectacular fun stuff for the holidays, for gifts.
Oh, cool.
I mean, cool pieces of copper that you have a black light and it like glows, this copper. It's really cool. We have some neat
That's
fossils
neat.
for
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
You know,
And whatever, I guess, if you have something special you want, you could try to get it for that person.
you need to order now.
Yeah.
You need to order now because I'm not the quickest tool.
Yeah.
So, but like last year, we're going to end up being open every weekend because of the bad weather that's coming in, and because the barn isn't heated, so the elements can be a little rough, though we are, have heaters.
Tell me about the fair that you're at.
Oh,
and
right.
When is it? Once a month?
So the holistic fair of the bluegrass is the first weekend of the month. We're in the new Waco building.
Where's
building
that?
Right on 60 by McDonald's in Versailles.
Okay, Versailles.
And third floor. And there are a bunch of different practitioners, herbalists, sound healing, massage therapists. It's really, come and get some fluff.
Are you going to have the selenite seat there?
I will have the selenite seat.
Tell everybody about that.
I will have the selenite seat. So our therapeutic selenite, which is different than...
It's different than this.
It's different than that.
It is way different than this.
Way different than that. We love this seat so much that I have to place a new order because we work with the mine owners, and it's still in the ground. So, but... yeah, so we have the gems there.
And I will slice a picture of the selenite seat in on the edited version. It's basically this thick of selenite, and she lays it on a chair, and then you sit on it, and you put your feet on another slab of that, and the energy from that is absolutely phenomenal for grounding, for cleansing, you name it. So Taya has a question before we sign out. How does one know that their child is a medium? He mainly acts as though he knows family very well that have passed away. Descriptions.
Yeah.
If they can describe things or mention things that no one else knows and that they have no knowledge of.
Right.
You've got medium abilities there.
Normally, whoever's there will tell them something, a name of a flower, to tell the parent, and that's usually what freaks the parent out. Like, how do you know that was not?
It's usually unknown knowledge that the child is able to recite back to the parents. Now, a lot of the entities that kids will, as mediums, will pick up on, maybe they're not family members, and you're gonna kind of feel your way through that. Are the descriptions really very intricate? How detailed are the descriptions that the child is giving to you about what they're seeing? And then 9 times out of 10, when I've dealt with kids that are talking about the boogeyman coming out of the closet, and then we went in to do an investigation and found out the boogeyman was in the closet. But there's a very good reason for that. I mean, closets, basements, attics, corners of the room, entities will pull back to simply because they don't like their mass or their energy being disturbed. So the boogeyman is most often in the closet because that's an area where that energy is not disturbed. And so that's why we hate basements and attics and closets and stuff. So Brenda Sue says, my son waves at things not there. Brenda Sue, there's something there, but you just can't see it. Especially when we are at hospitals, dead giveaway, hospitals, nursing homes.
I think too,
and graveyards are big hot spots for a person to pick up and exhibit a mediumistic type of quality.
Sometimes the kids are so empathic that you have to kind of do some investigating on, is it the mediumship, or is he being bombarded on sensory overload
Yeah.
and picking up on so many other people's energies or whatever? They don't have to necessarily be dead, but
Right.
just the people he comes in contact with, he's
living
in
energy.
living
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
that they get so sensory overloaded. Those are those people who don't go to parties. Those are the people who really have desk jobs,
Become
you know?
more introverted. But
Correct.
you know, some of the techniques that we talked about tonight
Right.
can be used for those type of empathic children as
And
well.
that's gifted too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big gift that keeps them out of harm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, for me, for this fall and winter, you guys need to really watch the posts. I'm going to be doing a webinar seminar on advanced protective techniques for your property or home. These are advanced techniques.
Cool.
So I'll do like a 2-part series. The first part is like an intro of basic techniques, and then the second part is going to cover the advanced techniques. So you'll want to be watching for that posting. And let's see if we only make sure we covered everything. What did we talk about? These other issues addressed: gridding the room, development, or cognitive? What was that? Something
Cognitive.
developmental or cognitive? Other issues.
Mm.
I guess you got to address the child's developmental or cognitive stage to see how you're going to grid the room, and really only a consult.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, we have a lot of people who are gridding their whole houses and really putting a complete protection barrier and then setting the tone, frequency, or vibration that's conducive for their whole family.
Right.
The dog, the kid, everybody.
And like you were saying, just the selenite lamp can cover the whole room.
It will clear
or the whole house.
It will clear an entire house. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Watch for the edited version. I'll have a lot of pictures. I went out to Crystal Crazy the other day, and we did a talk, and we did some pictures. And so I have pictures of all the other clearing sprays and some of the crystals, and I've got some pictures of the lamps that I'm going to slice in there for you. And I will see you next Monday night. It may be story time. I may tell some ghost stories next Monday night. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to, do a topic or just ghost stories. We'll have to see. Brenda C says, thank you. I'll have to message you. I'm going to have to come visit your shop. I'm sure we'll.
You.
Oh, absolutely, Brenda. Get a consult.
Yeah, we are by appointment. It is our farm and our work studio. So just message me. We set up an appointment.
Yeah, Brenda Sue, and the link to the Facebook page for Crystal Crazy is in the description for this video on my Facebook page. Right. Thank you to everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Kisses from Kentucky.
Bye.
And we will see you guys, or I will see you guys next Monday night.
Bye.
Bye.